The tracking infrastructure built by tech conglomerates to sell targeted ads has been repurposed into a state surveillance apparatus. Law enforcement agencies now routinely exploit these commercial building blocks to eliminate digital anonymity. This system relies on the HTTP cookie, a persistent text file stored on your device that permanently tags your physical hardware as you navigate the internet. This seal represents the Federal Trade Commission, which classifies tracking technologies based on how long they last. Single-session cookies facilitate temporary site navigation and disappear when you close your browser. But persistent cookies remain embedded on your hard drive for months or years to capture unique identifiers. The government formally categorizes these persistent multi-session trackers as Tier 2 technologies. Google utilizes an interconnected matrix of first- and third-party cookies to track users across its proprietary services and millions of independent websites. As this diagram shows, a single tracking code, like the GA cookie used by Google Analytics 4, extracts behavioral telemetry from disparate sites and aggregates it into one central profile. Intelligence agencies, including the NSA, have historically exploited these commercial cookies to pinpoint surveillance targets. By monitoring network traffic for specific identifiers, like the Google PREF cookie, state actors can recognize a specific browser across different networks, regardless of whether the user is logged into an account. Every interaction on the web intrinsically tags your physical hardware with a unique, exploitable identifier. This constant telemetry makes true online anonymity nearly impossible to maintain. To unmask an anonymous suspect, investigators look for a forensic trail known as digital overlap. Criminals often assume burner accounts provide a shield. However, logging into an anonymous and a personal account on the same device links them permanently via an SID cookie. This methodology investigated a 2025 Hamilton County bomb threat. The perpetrator used a scrubbed, anonymous Gmail, but investigators bypassed VPNs by securing a warrant for the cookie data, revealing the exact same iPhone hardware used for the threat simultaneously logged into the suspect's personal billing account. Operating under multiple pseudonyms offers no protection if the underlying browser environment shares the same persistent tracking cookies. Chrome's Incognito Mode deletes single-session cookies upon closure, but it offers no protection against network-level tracking or device-specific forensics. Investigators instead utilize browser fingerprinting, a passive tracking process that aggregates a vast combination of hardware and software characteristics to build a unique identifier. Every time you visit a site, you expose your operating system version, screen resolution, time zone, and even your installed system fonts. When aggregated, these immutable traits form a unique cryptographic hash that identifies your machine out of millions of other devices. Furthermore, incognito traffic still exposes your IP address to web servers. This allows investigators to correlate the unique browser fingerprint and IP address from a private session with data collected during a standard logged-in session, linking your private activities back to your known identity. In 2024, Google settled a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit regarding these deceptive privacy controls and was forced to delete billions of private browsing records. Despite this, the underlying hardware-level tracking remains operational and accessible to law enforcement through the standard subpoena process. A traditional search warrant targets a specific suspect. In contrast, a reverse search warrant compels a company to search a massive pool of generalized corporate data to find a suspect that police haven't identified yet. One version is the reverse keyword warrant, notably used in the case Commonwealth v. Kurtz. There, police compelled Google to identify every user who had searched for a specific victim's residential address in the week preceding a violent assault. Another version is the geofence warrant, which relies on a Google database called SensorVault. SensorVault collects precise location data from hundreds of millions of Android devices using GPS, Wi-Fi network mapping, and cellular tower triangulation. As seen here, police define a designated boundary around a crime scene, and Google returns a dragnet of every tracked device present within that area. Investigators filter this anonymized movement data to find devices exhibiting suspicious patterns, like a phone that entered a bank during a robbery and fled immediately after. Once a target is isolated, the government compels Google to unmask the account, providing the suspect's name, phone number, and associated cookie data. This bulk collection of data has caused a massive judicial fracture regarding Fourth Amendment protections. The conflict has moved to the United States Supreme Court, which will review the constitutionality of geofence warrants for the first time in 2026. Centralized tracking databases have enabled an era of mass, untargeted state surveillance, where the state continuously searches through the personal data of millions of innocent people to find a single suspect. Google attempted to modernize these systems with the Privacy Sandbox, a corporate initiative designed to replace third-party tracking cookies with localized, privacy-preserving standards. However, the project faced intense antitrust concerns and industry pushback. In 2025, Google officially abandoned the Privacy Sandbox, choosing instead to keep third-party tracking cookies fully operational within the Chrome browser. By maintaining legacy cookies, tech companies preserve the highly granular, cross-site tracking that state investigators exploit. The repositories of metadata and persistent identifiers that law enforcement relies on remain firmly intact. As long as the internet economy relies on persistent tracking identifiers to function, absolute online anonymity remains a strict mathematical impossibility. Our digital footprints are permanent, and they are always extractable.